Hello, hello.
Hi! I'm so glad to see you both.
It's good to see you too. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's see. In the chat, we had Time to Shine, Homestead. Stay warm, my friends.
Yes.
Anne Dale is here, everybody. We're so happy she's here. And I'm going to just close this out a minute. Is the echo better now?
I was not able to hear it.
Okay. Hello, Garden Table with Heather Lynn. Hello, Bland's Promised Land Ranch. That must be Miss Monica.
Hey, Monica.
So welcome in for another in the 7F goal setting series.
Yay.
And so we have Mtn Grandma up here. Oh, I did the wrong way. And that's Tammy. And next week we will be on Tammy's channel for 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I would like to introduce to you the one, the only, the beautiful human being, Miss Anne Dale.
Hi!
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And what an honor to have you girls even think of me to invite me to something like this. I've been following along and trying to do my 7Fs, but it's such an honor to be able to be up here and talk about them. And Dale Bland says.
Hi, Spring Meadow Farm and Garden. Yes, we feel honored to have you. And so what we wanted to talk about today is, so I'm going to let Tammy do a refresher for anyone who may be new about the 7Fs, and I have them scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And again, this is a series that we alternate each week. And so this week we're on our channel. Next week we'll be on Mtn Grandma's channel. But take it away, Tammy.
Sure. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So what we're doing is coming together every week to talk about our goal setting for this year in the 7Fs. And there's our 7Fs listed at the bottom of the screen: faith, family, friends, fun, fitness, finances, future. And really the whole idea behind this is that you look these over, you think about the things you want to accomplish during the year, you kind of see where do those lie in these 7 parts of our life. And once you identify some of the big chunks, you can identify some of the smaller chunks as well and kind of break those down into smaller, bite-sized chunks that you can accomplish every week. So that's what we do, and we discuss that and share with each other our progress and how we've been doing. And it's all about keeping life balanced and, letting ourselves kind of live our lives rather than our lives running us too much. So that's what it's all about. And I hope you all enjoy the journey. And we look forward to chatting with you, Anne, and seeing how your goals are set up for this year and how you've been doing.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been very helpful. I am not a list maker or a note taker. I always lose my lists and things like that. But this particular program, following your series, has helped me to make lists, to take notes. It's such a sense of accomplishment when you can scratch something off. It just really makes me feel more accomplished. And at the end of the day, you say, well, I did get something accomplished today. I did do something in a positive way. And so that's always a good feeling.
Absolutely. And so they're in the chat, they're hearing an echo. Tammy, I'm going to take you down and bring you back up, okay?
Okay. Oh, it's me.
Woohoo! We're playing dance.
So go ahead, Tammy. So let's see if we got rid of it.
Is it me?
I think so.
I have nothing up running. That's
strange.
So weird.
Hey,
Let me
Nora.
hit mute and then you guys talk again.
Okay. Okay, guys, how about now?
Can you hear us clearly? It's
Hello,
probably
Nora.
some technical one whammy that I have brought along. Because
no, not you at all. Sometimes it happens, and it's one of those things we can't figure out.
hey, let's talk Explorer.
I had YouTube on my phone, but I didn't have the volume up.
If you close out the window or pause it on your
phone. My phone, not the computer.
Yeah, sometimes if you pause it on your phone, then it won't affect you. Believe it or not, it's weird.
And I've shut it off on my computer as well.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Hello, David Hunt. Hello, my Renaissance grandma.
Oh, yay, David Hunt is here.
Hello, Maple Cook.
That's good. Good.
Sorry.
That's okay. Now, I was just saying hello to people as well. The Maple Cook is here. I love them.
Oh, I do too. So, Anne, why don't you tell us about some of your goals for this year?
Well, some of my goals for this year, that is something, in fact, for today, when we get to choose on our Tuesdays, the theme was to choose wisely. And that goes a long way with a whole lot of things, to choose wisely in your finances, in your faith, in your future, in your plans that are coming up in your life. And my goals are to be able to grow towards self-sufficiency. We don't have farm animals here, so I don't have a meat source. However, I do have hunters in my family. We have quite a bit of deer hunters and bird hunters, so we can do that. My son has quite a bit of land and farmland and so forth that he can hunt on. We have a creek in our backyard where we can fish. And although there are wild pets, we do have geese and ducks and wood ducks and mallards and even scoby ducks that come in the backyard. So if needed, we do have a little meat source. They have to behave, or I tell them they're going to have to be on the dining room table. But I also, in growing, now, this has been my first year ever of growing during the winter indoors, other than a few houseplants, maybe some flowers or something that I enjoy to look at. But it has been so empowering to know that I can still grow food during the winter. And the whole new door that has opened to me, as it has to you too, Tammy, and you too, Yogi, of growing herbs. The world of herbs is so wide and broad, and I'm just cracking the door open just a tiny bit, but to be able to have things that you can forage for wildly, as well as grow in your windowsill. They're very easy to grow, and or at least I think they are. They're coming up pretty good so far. To be able to have calendula for skin irritation, to have allegedly, that's what they're supposed to do, to be able to have more marjoram for fevers and all sorts of herbs for your health and well-being, in case the grocery store, the drugstore disappears, especially in this trying time.
Yep.
And I've learned how to make my own vinegar, and I'm growing a stevia plant for my own sweetener. I haven't learned how to make flour yet, but that's something that is learnable. So my goal this year is to get closer and closer to returning back to old times, where even though it is not as convenient as going and picking it up at the grocery store, I have, even if I don't have it ready, I have the knowledge of being able to do it, to be able to be self-sufficient.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. I mean, our whole place was founded on that, just nervousness, and anxiety over life as we know it not being there.
Yes.
So I think, that's a big thing. So,
well, we think about the things that are going on in the world, and you wonder if one day we had some armament coming down our little street. Do I have the things that I need just to survive in at least a small period of time, if not for a year? Because growing for a year, I'm not there yet. There are holes.
Yeah.
And I think it's a goal to get towards there.
Yeah, agree. And then you have to wonder, is the whole idea of depending on all of our resources coming from a store where the products come from somewhere further away,
Yes.
is all of that really that great of a good idea to have to depend on these things so heavily? And it's so
That's
nice
right.
to be able to, we're hunters, and I guess we fall into the hunter and gatherer thing, don't we?
Yes.
Because we're kind of the same. We have our kids have goats and chickens, and we hunt. So we usually have deer meat in the freezer or elk.
Yes.
Fish from, us going fishing. Although my husband he's the big fisherman and the big hunter.
Yeah.
This truth be told there, but it's a family affair, and we all work together in sharing our resources. So it kind of works out great that way. And I'm with you. I've been growing for the first time through the winter.
And the time, it just is so cool.
Yeah, I'm carrying them in and out. And then I'm learning that I think that some of my challenges, I'm always growing something new. So I'm getting my video up for Shed Wars today because it's like right at the deadline, right? Today is my last day. Anybody who wants to be in Shed Wars, today is your last day. You got to get those videos up. But one of my challenges, like my plants, it was a good 50 plus yesterday. It was nice and warm. And I felt like that the plants would be, I took them outside. I'm like, yay, they get to play outside. And some of them started looking all, wilty, and I had to bring them in the house because they're kind of like sissies. And so that tells me something, that during the spring, because we're still in winter, during the spring, these plants need to be in the shade or get very little sun of our sun, because we have some brutal sun here. I mean, our sun is warm. I don't know if it's because we're at 7,000 feet or what the deal is, but it's hot. Like it could be 50 degrees outside and you could be in short sleeves because the sun itself is so hot. It's, the wind that'll make you cold. But I'm learning, even as I do that, learning about this area to grow in, because I was used to growing in, I think where we were in the valley, we were like zone 8. I mean, we had it beautiful. So easy. And now being up here, we're in zone 6B, but that only speaks to how cold it is. It doesn't speak to how dry it is. The heat of the sun and, their impact on plants' health, or like the wind that we get, and the fact that we could have a snow in the middle of May. Mm-hmm. So it's all a learning experience. For sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Country Mama Musings came in. And let's see here. F.R. Humphrey, Cassandra Dominic. Had a bunch of people come in.
Yay.
Sorry, guys. Oh, sorry. We're dealing with some feedback. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We've got nothing else open, but just bear with us. From time to time, you'll see me moving people off the screen when they're not talking, just to try and see if we can fix it.
Yes, feel free to do that to me as well.
I will. I notice it's coming and going. It could be StreamYard because, like I said, we've got everything shut off. So I'm going to just try it real quick here. We can get some of this fixed.
Peekaboo!
Peekaboo!
Yes, as Dorisha says, peekaboo.
I have the urge to plant seeds today because it is going to be 57 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
And we
Yay.
went to Rapid City yesterday, and it was in the 60s. And I was like,
wonderful.
You know, it's only going to last a little while, but I will take it.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, Jules, gardening tips. Thanks for listening in. So, Anne, talk about some of your goals for this year. Like you talked about self-sustaining, but I know that in a homesteading 101, you talked about like relationships and stuff and how important that is.
It is important. And Lord willing, next month, my husband and I will be married 44 years. And so that's a wonderful thing. However, it's just as if you were married for a year or two in wanting to be aware and intentional in sharing with that other person, in making sure that they're known that they're a priority in your life and that what they think and feel is important. It's not an old pair of shoes that I've had for 44 years. This is a loving, sweet human that I have chosen to spend my life with and that adores me even when I'm not adorable. So.
Oh, I love that. Okay, first off, I don't know when you cannot be adorable, Anne.
I can be not adorable.
Because I feel the same about my husband. And you're right. When we're not adorable, they still adore us.
Yes, yes. And I mean, there are different stages in life. And when you're first married and you're finding your foothold and you're finding your way, and then you have, we had children and they take a priority. They take a huge amount of your time. If I had to do that again, I would probably spend a little more attention on my husband, but the kids were a big priority at the time. Grandchildren have come that are a priority. But honestly, through what has just occurred in our country, my husband retired of being in Newport News shipyard for 42 years. He left the house at 4 o'clock in the morning and didn't get home until 6 o'clock in the evening. And by 8 o'clock, he was asleep. So most of those 44 years, besides eating and saying hello, I mean, we had about an hour and a half a day together. So we got along really well. But as soon as he retired, then the pandemic came around and we were at home all day together for the first time. And so there were some adjustments. You know, there was some time that we learned to respect each other. At that time, I was not a gardener. I had never been in his yard. And, you know, so that was an adjustment. He had his little bottom lip out for a little bit to begin with, but now it's a team effort and we both enjoy it a lot. It's our main hobby that we do, and we may be out there together or separately, but it is our main hobby. But there are seasons, there are ebbs and flows. And in this flow of our life is when I would really like to be sure that he knows that he's special.
I love that. And yes, that's real. Like that's, I always, and when I was, you know, when my kids were younger, they would hear me speak to that a lot. I would tell them, guys, look, you get a job, remember, that's not your reality. It is, but your reality is those people in your life that if you were, you know, if anything were happening that was negative, right? Anything bad happened, those are the people you're going to think about. It's going to be your family. That's real. And that's kind of how I always spoke to that with them. Keep your eyes as much as you can on what's real, because you will be pulled just by our own integrity, right?
Right.
Pulled to give not only a certain limit, but beyond a reasonable limit to a
Right.
responsibility that we have accepted that is separate from our family.
That's right.
And that's awesome. And I love that you guys have found something you can do together that is like
I know. It's
your
wonderful.
time that makes you both happy. I feel like that's so important that we have that.
It really is wonderful. I am so blessed because our son, the Dale kids were known as the darn Dales when they were growing up. My children, they were wild teenagers. They had a big time. I mean, they were nuts. And the Lord helped look after them and keep them safe. I think it was my mama's prayers. They said lots of kids are alive because of the grandmama's prayers. I think that's right.
Yes.
I think they're still around because of those. But I had a relationship with the Lord most all my life, but not a dependent one, not one that I desired that closeness, that feeling of awe, really, the feeling of anticipation to see what he had plans in our lives. And our son married a sweet girl that I adore, and she brought him to the Lord. And they were having prayer meetings and home church, a little church in their house, and he would invite us, Worth and I, to come. And we're like, thanks, thinking it's holy rolling, and that's not our cup of tea. And finally, he texted me and he said, Mama, I prayed tonight that you and Daddy would come to church. That was the end. Okay, your son, that was the wild child, says,
Gives me goosebumps.
I prayed for you and Daddy to come to church. And our lives enveloped and grew so much, both of us, in our relationship with the Lord. We were both baptized together. I mean, it was just, not that we weren't before, but it was just a rebirth, really. And, that's a symbol that it doesn't change your world, but it is an outward symbol of knowing that this is how our lives are going. And so, in those distractions, in our ebb and flow of life, when you get covered up with work and you get covered up with distractions, to be able to rely on Him and to look for Him, all this bad stuff is all down here, but we keep our vision straight up, then that just kind of melts away. You give it to Him and keep going. So,
was that before or after you had an incident in your life? Because, and I'm not trying to get personal.
Yeah, right.
You've shared.
I did. I had, in 2008, I had swine flu that I didn't know, and pneumonia, and I was still working. I worked a lot, and I was a real estate agent at the time, and I would get better during the week and then worse on the weekends. Well, I didn't know I had sprayed my home with flea spray because our dogs had fleas, and I had sprayed the couch really, really well. Well, I felt bad during the weekend, so I would lay on the couch with the remote in my hand. I was poisoning myself, and I had no idea. And so I woke up. God already had it all planned out, but I woke up about 2 a.m, and my family was gone, one of the few times that they had ever traveled, and I couldn't breathe. I could not get any air in. And so I was saved. I mean, the Lord had it all worked out. He used His soldiers and saved me. A deputy sheriff came and broke into the house and resuscitated me. And he came, the Lord told him to come before the ambulance came.
Wow.
He was sitting at a stop sign and he heard a voice. And the voice said, you need to go. And he came before the ambulance came. And he saved me they had it on tape. It was like 7 or 8 minutes before the ambulance ever got there. And I had stopped breathing at the time. So,
Oh my goodness.
that was just all such an awesome plan. And yes, that did happen before our son asked us to come. And I did have eyes to see and ears to hear how special and wonderful that was, that the Lord had set that all up, all in motion. Because even to the point of, we had 2 big dogs at the time, German short-haired pointers, and the deputy sheriff that came didn't look like me, was a strange man coming in my home, could have easily caused him pause or kept him away from me, and that was already taken care of. So that was all good. It all worked out well.
What an incredible story. I remember the first time that I heard it, it just goes to show you don't realize what folks kind of go through sometimes.
That's right. And I actually considered, it was the weirdest thing, y'all, because I considered myself so blessed. During that time, I knew it was bad, so I had sense enough to call 911. Which is a miracle in itself, because you always think, I'm going to be okay. This is going to pass. I'm going to be all right. But luckily, blessedly, I was able to call for 911. And during that struggling time, I wasn't terribly afraid. Yes, I was panicking to breathe, but inside, I was still calm. I had enough time, which not all of us get, to be able to say, Lord, please forgive me of my sins. I love you, and I ask that you forgive me and be with me, and I'm calling on you, I'm pleading for you right now. And the only thing I remember, people ask, did you see a white light? No, I did not. I did not see a white light. I did, however, feel warm and safe. And I could hear the Lord saying to me, I got you. You're okay. It's going to be all right. And then there was nothing. And I woke up when they slammed me on the table in the emergency room. So it was great. I mean, I had that time, and I have ever since then, I've had that reassurance that no matter what goes on, this is a grain of salt in the ocean of what we have for eternity. So yay, I'm good.
So you've encompassed like a lot of the 7 F's right there, right? Because you've talked about faith, and you've talked about future, right? Yeah. And getting ready. You've talked about friends and family. What about like say fitness or finances? Do you have any goals in that area that you care to share?
Certainly. Finances, when you retire and you're used to 42 years of a weekly paycheck, and suddenly it comes to a retirement plan that is not anywhere close to what you were getting, and Social Security, then there's some adjustment. And it was quite a bit of adjustment. Instead of being able to pay your bills weekly, you have to pay them once a month, and you still have to eat at the end of that month. So that was quite an adjustment. Now that it has been a couple of years, we are more comfortable, more secure, but you have to be intentional as well. Is the only word that I can come up with, as well as choosing wisely. What I used to be able to not think of going and getting a hamburger somewhere, and you think, oh, I can go home and make a sandwich kind of thing. So you choose wisely with your finances. And especially in these times where we're all trying to have our homes prepared for whatever comes about, you choose, is that worth that $5? Because I'm going to need to eat at the end of the month, So that is something that we have both worked on. For the first time in our married life, we discussed finances, because it was better that he didn't know. He made the money and I spent it. But it was, it was just better. It was more peaceful for him. Mm-hmm. And now we are a team and we work together and we help balance each other out in what we're going to purchase and where we're going to purchase those things. And so that helps tremendously. As far as, working out in the yard, that's fun. I do have to be a little careful because I didn't realize this last summer it wasn't extremely hot, but I had some sort of heat exhaustion, which I didn't realize when you're perspiring, even if it's not sunny, you have to be sure and rehydrate. Mm-hmm. What goes out, you need to put back in. And I didn't know that. And so I'm learning that as well. As far as actually, like working out and doing my steps, that's not exactly in the plans that I've accomplished. Let's just put it that way.
That's honest.
Yeah.
That's a hard one for me too.
It is. We accept that here. So
I do run and romp and play with the grandbabies, and I'm on the road a lot, and those kinds of things. But, we do need to look after ourselves physically. I have had a knee replacement, so I have a metal knee. And when I get ready to go run across the yard chasing the ball with the kids, it's shocking that I can't run as well as I could when I was 20. So I do have to work on that a little bit.
I can't either. I was in an airport once and I had to catch a flight between, I was flying back from Canada for business. And the flight, where we live, we have a very small airport. So I have to go to the main airport in Phoenix that flies to the airport that we have local here. And I had like minutes to get from one part of the airport to the other. And I was running as fast as I could because at the same time we had to close on the house. I had to if I didn't catch that plane, I was getting a rental car. Right. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, what if I had to run for my life? I don't want to run for my life. Everybody should be able to run for their life.
No.
You'd be able to run for your life if you had to. That's when the adrenaline would pump in.
Yeah. I'm figuring I'm going to be the one that everybody says I don't have to run really fast. I just have to run faster than you. So I'll be the one that everybody's running faster than. So.
I did have a backpack and I was pulling a suitcase, on wheels. So I was a little challenged anyways. But so I told my husband, next time we go out in the woods, because we do love to go out in the woods and go for walks and hikes. It's just it's therapy for us.
Oh, sure.
And so, but we don't do it as often as we should. Like we can walk right from our property and go to, I don't know, a couple properties down and be on state land. So that's kind of nice about where we live.
Wonderful.
And we don't have to drive anywhere to do that. And we're not doing it like we should. Although the snow and that it turns into mud kind of hinders us somewhat, but you're not alone in that, Anne. It's something that we all kind of put off.
Yeah.
Not that we should, but it's so easy to do. I have to celebrate the little things, like the extra steps I take on days where we go to the store. Because my husband kind of meanders through a store where I'm more the zip through and grab this. So I go ahead of him. I'll go to other aisles and come back with stuff. And then I go so I get a lot of steps in at the store just because of that piece of it. But you got to celebrate those little things.
Yes. I'm going to celebrate
babies.
Celebrate my rocky steps that I ran up this weekend.
Yes. It all adds up, right?
That's right. And the traffic, oh my gosh, in Virginia Beach this past weekend, they have the traffic lights, which we barely have a stoplight in our little town. I mean, it's 5,000 for the town, 10,000 for the whole county. So we have one grocery store, a Rose's, a few sweet restaurants, but we certainly don't have one of those buttons that you push at the stoplight. So we're pushing the buttons, and it started counting down to there's traffic that stopped 8 lanes deep, and it's going 9, 8, 7, and all those young people were behind me, and I was hot-footing it across that lane, screaming for my daughter, "Come on, Sarah, come on, come on!" But I was the first one to hit the other side because I was afraid that those cars would come.
Yeah, it's funny when you're in a small town and you go to the big town, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, I need to get out more.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Yep.
kidding. Time to shine, stay warm. I know it's brutal. They're at -5. Oof.
Oh my
Oh,
word.
gracious.
Stay warm, my friends.
That's
Yeah,
just mean. You know,
It
when
is.
it's that cold, that is a mean temperature. It's brings along suffering with it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not watching you, Lisa.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
told Ryan the other day, I was like, I love being in an area where the weather changes and we have the winter. I do love that. I have no problem with the cold. Once it gets below 0, I am not happy.
Right.
Not so time to shine there in that weather and getting lots of snow.
Oh,
And I feel for them.
I just can't imagine. Here, being a real estate agent, I did have some people that traveled from other parts of the country that came here. And they said, "What is your freeze line?" And I said, "What's a freeze line?" Because we don't have, we don't have that here. We're so close to sea level. But to have it be -0 ever would be devastating for our area. So I just totally understand being
Have
a
a great
hermit.
day, Sandy. Yeah, it's just
Thank you, Sandy.
Off to
yeah,
a meeting.
it is. It's just really hard. And when it gets that cold, everything breaks.
I bet.
That's
Hey, Anne, for everyone who might not know, do you want to share with everybody where you're located?
Sure. I'm located in northeastern North Carolina, about an hour inland from the Outer Banks, about an hour south of Virginia. It's a little town called Edenton, and in North Carolina. So I'm a Carolina girl.
It is beautiful there. I got stuck there in between that same trip that I was talking about coming back from Canada. We had a stop in North Carolina that didn't go where it was supposed to. We ended up having to stay the night there because of
Oh my
weather.
goodness.
But so for the taxi ride, anyways, to the airport.
Well, was that Greensboro or Raleigh? Because North Carolina is such a wide state. I mean, it's a wide. So I'm on the coastal side. And if you're in the mountainous region, it's like completely different states. I mean, we have a little bit of everything here. We have middle of the road, from ocean to rivers to some dry lands to mountainous, and it's you need a little spice in your life. Just travel across North Carolina.
It's so true.
Yeah.
We used to live in Western North Carolina. When we first moved down to North Carolina, we lived in Mitchell County. And then we lived in Buncombe County, right outside of Asheville. And
Okay.
it was easier to get to South Carolina and Georgia beaches than it was North Carolina.
Absolutely.
And I think we were like over 8 hours away from you.
Yes.
And but yeah, when I would take for work, I used to have to go to Durham and Raleigh.
Okay.
And so that was about 4 hours. And I used to drive across the state, and it was like the minute you got out of Western North Carolina, it was flat.
Yes.
It's so different.
It is different. Because when we travel, if we travel to the mountain regions, it's like, wow, look at that. That is amazing. You know, I mean, we're just really enthralled.
That's like
Yeah.
Arizona. People, it's so different from up north where we live compared to, Phoenix and Tucson.
Yes.
Hey,
Mhm.
Carmen. So people are relating to the fit part, and so FR Humphrey is commenting, have a good day, Jilly. And also Garden at Table with Heather Lynn was talking about the same thing.
Exercise in the winter. Yeah. Now, Heather Lynn just said she did something brave yesterday. What did you do brave, Heather Lynn? We need to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Type quicker, Heather.
Yes. Encourage us.
Yes.
Welcome in.
So I wrote a little list of the fun and the finances, the faith, family, friends. I have made such wonderful friends in YouTube. But we do have to be careful and make sure that we don't stop being friends with real people. I mean, I don't mean that we're not real, but I mean people that you can touch and say hello and share a coffee with and things like that. So it's easy. It's easy to step into that YouTube world and just live there. Country Mama.
Hey, off the ball, Pepper. Thanks for listening in. Carmen at Jesus Loving Homesteader. I'm assuming it's Carmen, not Nathan. As I eat a spicy Chick-fil-A sandwich. You're killing me. I miss Chick-fil-A so much.
That's okay. I was told by an herbalist doctor one time when I went in, because Lord knows the longer you live, the more you become allergic to things, that she said, do you eat a lot of fast food? And at the time, I did, a lot. And she said, well, at least when you go, just get the chicken. So hey, she got the best of the worst thing. She's eating chicken.
Country Mama says she's been fitness ball drumming.
Okay.
And F.R. Humphrey said human touch is important. And Garden to Table said my husband wanted me to record some voiceovers for the video that he made that we uploaded last night. Good for you, Heather.
Yeah, you go, girl. You got it.
Yeah.
I have just discovered those voiceover things the last few months, and I really like them. So yeah. I'm sure she'll do well.
Yeah.
Yes, she will. Yeah, I hear you, Blue. I get it. And yes, thank you, Business Services and Opportunities. We got monetized, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I'm so happy for you.
So awesome.
Thank you. Oh, let me take care of the bot we got going on.
There you go.
Did I get it?
Oh, yep. She did it the first time ever. Heather says, haven't figured out the voiceover yet.
Yep.
You will.
I saw your video, Heather. What can be helpful, Carmen, is getting the video all set first.
Yes.
And then when you've watched it a couple times, you get a little more of the flow. So like when you're editing, get it all done. And then you can cut the audio clip and it makes it a lot easier.
I do all my editing in iMovie, and so it's easier. It's very easy there, but you do have to watch the video a few times so that you know what's coming up next.
Who else gets really tired of watching their own videos when they're editing them? You get to the point where you're like, I can't even watch it anymore.
Like, oh gosh, if I was somebody that didn't know me, I would leave at this time. You know.
I try to get my husband, because I do our editing, and I'll be like, "Come here, watch this now. Watch this now." I'll be like, "Oh, how many minutes is it?"
Yeah, I do the same thing.
How you do this in real life?
I do the same thing. I'll hand the phone to the husband, and I'll watch his facial expressions and see when he starts looking out the door, you know, when he's losing his interest in the video.
My husband has good editing tips, though. I really like him to watch it because he'll see things I don't see.
Oh, okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do that with Ryan. You know, the protective things, and I'll give you an example. We had to be very careful with our address on the ice fishing video. And so I have him look it over to make sure, that kind of thing, you know?
Sure.
Let's see. So, Tammy, do you have any questions for Anne?
General question. Anne, what growing zone is North Carolina?
Well, there's several. in North Carolina, but I happen to be lucky enough to be in 8A.
Oh, you are lucky. I've been there. That's a wonderful zone. Oh my
Yes, it is. It is. And so it's all new to me, but I've just been doing it a couple of years, but I'm having so much fun. And, but yeah, we're in 8A, which we have 4 seasons here, but our winters are very, very mild, extremely mild compared to y'all's winters.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get snow, it's unusual. And so first flake, our first speck of sleet in Anne Dale was tucked in her home just as quick as she could be, because I don't know how to dive in that stuff.
When you know it's going to go, and that is one thing for where we live, we get all this snow, but it does leave. It melts. I mean, it's melting right now. I'm sure we will get more snow. We're like Lisa. It's funny how South Dakota and northern Arizona when she's cold, we tend to be cold. If the storm is big enough, it's hitting us both at about the same time. I think she's due north of us is what the deal is.
Okay.
It comes from the west, it's pushing this big thing through us both, but we don't get as cold as her. So when we get snow, though, it does melt. It's melting, which is good because, again, we'll get so much of it that we can get feet of snow here where we are, but it does melt. But it makes it tricky, and that's one of the challenges with gardening, especially since it cuts into our spring, and we can get snow up to the middle of May. And typically do. Our last snow, maybe at the earliest, might be around Cinco de Mayo or something like that.
Okay.
So earlier I shared some of our challenges that we have with gardening. Can you share some of the challenges you have there with gardening?
Well, I don't know the science of gardening. I mean, you got to seed and you put it in the dirt. And the first year that I grew anything, I thought that when you got a packet of seeds, you were supposed to plant all of them. And so I planted every seed in every packet, which means you've got like 85 cherry tomato plants. Who's going to be able to use 85 cherry tomato plants? Yeah, I did that with everything. So by the end of the season, or by the growing season, I didn't have any seeds left because I planted all those bad boys. But it's a learning curve, and it was suggested recently on another live to get a soil test, that they're important. Lisa, you have done that as well. Tammy, did you do a soil test? I have not.
I haven't, but I'm wanting to. Our dirt is so bad up here. We have clay and cinders because where we live, it used to be volcanoes,
Right.
And a lot of cinder rock, lots of clay. So I have to do the above ground, or if it's in the ground, I have to pour a lot of dirt in there and really mix it up. And honestly, I did that once and felt like I didn't have enough purchased soil in with my clay dirt.
Right.
It's a struggle.
Well, true confession time. I mean, I would like to have a soil test, but I don't know what to do with the results. I mean, because all the nutrients they're good for one plant and not for the other plant, or something. I don't know what to do with it. So.
What we liked about the My Soil test, I mean, that was a sponsor, but what I'm going to give you the straight up is that they give you the results and tell you what to add. Right.
For what plants? For what?
No, for a vegetable garden overall.
Just vegetables. Okay.
But then, I mean, then you can at least have the base knowledge of what you have, because we were lacking nitrogen.
Okay.
So that's a key ingredient. So they told us what to add, how much, and all that. But then if you're having a specific problem with a certain plant, then at least you can add around there.
Okay.
People have blossom end rot for tomatoes, and they add Epsom salts, they add eggshells, they add calcium, Tums, all that stuff. They add it around those plants versus the entire garden.
Yes. Yes. Well,
I need to do it too, Anne. And I purchased some plants from GrowJoy, lilac bushes, and I planted them in our ground. I mean, it said they could tolerate clay soil, and it said that they could tolerate our environment, the winter, everything. So I thought, okay, they'll be good. They did not grow a smidge last year. They didn't grow at all. And, there's things like that that I do want to plant directly in the ground. I would like to plant flowers that are edible or medicinal. I'm like
yes.
herbal thing. But I need to know what we're up against out there. My garden area where I have specific above ground beds, maybe not so much for that because, I'm doing the above ground thing, but that would still be nice though, if I could use our own dirt to mix with certain things instead of paying for all of that.
Oh, yeah, blueberry bushes. I just got some blueberry bushes. They had two for $15.98 at Lowe's, and then I was reading the instructions, and it says it needs to be airy, and you need peat moss and all that stuff. But you could use leaf moss as well, which means like crushed up leaves. So they're in pots right now with the soil and leaves. We'll see. I don't know. They're still green, so.
That's good. That's good. I know that I was talking to Country Mama about this on the side, and I was telling her that my dad had blueberry bushes, and he, he had them for like 5 years, and he got nothing.
Oh gosh.
And well, no. The reason why I share this story is he kept working at it, changing the soil, all that stuff, and then 5 years in, they were overrun with blueberries.
Awesome.
Like, don't freak out if it doesn't work for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I mean, but in your climate, we already
They're babies. They're just
last year.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything. I want them to grow up and be mature.
Hey, Dark Party.
I'm not expecting anything before that, but oh gosh, yeah, no. The first year that I had a garden out there, that we had all the tomato plants and everything, you would go out and touch them every day and talk to them and things like that. And there was a bad windstorm that came one time, and the tomato plants hadn't been staked yet because they were, maybe 14, 16 inches tall. And they were all laying down. And I was so sad. And I went to sleep that night going, I don't know. I did everything I can, Lord. Please, if it's your will that I have it, please help. The next morning, they were all standing up just fine. So I call my garden the land of plenty. And that's the name of it. And I tell him I just pray over it. I don't know what else to do. I just pray over it because it just seems to work. I mean, it certainly seems to work. I don't know.
There you go.
I accidentally left. I have I'm carrying plants in and out. I've got a box of green onions and some radishes in there. They're all in, the red Solo cups or those cup of noodles. I use those cups too, so those kind of things. And yesterday I had to bring the sissies in, the sissy plants, the ones that look at all wilty because it was getting sunny. I'm like, I got to bring the sissies in. So I brought them in, and I left my green onions and radishes outside. And you guys, I left them out there all night. They're still alive this morning.
They'll be fine.
Let's hope they stay alive.
Yes.
You can't tell right off the bat. It's a good thing I cut some video for the shed wars. If they die today, I might include it, but I'll be tracking those to see how they're doing and see if they bounce back. Always something to learn. What do you think is your biggest for this year, Anne? What do you, with all of the different areas, and I know we all each have our own thoughts of what we want to accomplish with some of those things in the 7 F's, even if some of them are just to keep doing what we're doing and maintain and not lose our focus. What do you think is your biggest goal for this year? I know you mentioned time with your husband.
Yes.
I know that's a big goal. Anything that you're wanting to accomplish, like on your homestead there, or any big goals that you're really hoping to achieve this year? What do you think the biggest are?
Well, herbs, really. Herbs and learning even more preserving. These herbs are kind of like, I've got all these containers and areas in the yard, and it's sort of like somebody gives you a $20 bill for your birthday, and then you spend it in your mind emotionally 400 different ways until you decide what you're going to actually buy for your birthday. I'm trying to decide where is the best place, and I have placed them emotionally only in about 8 different places in my yard. And some of them you have to have a real commitment, like asparagus is there forever. And, you don't know if you want to put it there forever, because it probably grow better in the garden, but I don't want to give up that space forever. And so I do have those goals of, I envision walking out the door and picking my lettuce and pulling a radish and clipping a tomato and a green pepper and, coming in and having our food and growing and making salves or even more tinctures, and opening a cabinet and having it be filled with my own spices from the garden and my own medicine. So that's one of the biggest. Some of the herbs can be aggressive. That's right, F.R. Humphrey, because mint, everybody tells me, can take over. I do have some mint that has grown, but I know to have that in pots, but some people say even then it spills over and just takes over everything. Once you have mint, you always have mint, because you can never get rid of the darn stuff.
I wish that was the case for my place. It would die. It would die of thirst.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe for mint, just judging by where my weak points are here, we don't have enough water for mint to survive on our property. Choose the driest part of your lot, maybe.
Maybe so.
Or at least an area that goes from moisture to dryness, so that it won't.
There's like 8 different places, and some of them have a lot of sunshine, and some of them don't, and it's partial. And do I really want it right in that spot in the middle? Is my husband going to complain when he gets ready to go mow the grass that he has to mow around it? Those guys.
Don't cut this. Don't cut this.
Yeah, you have to consider those things too. The grass mowing.
Oh, time to shine. I hope you guys feel better. I'm sorry to hear that. Gosh, be careful.
Oh my goodness. On top of 800-pound pig.
Ooh.
Oh, I'll bet you're in pain.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Mint loves water. It's a marsh plant. I grow mint in my large chicken run.
That's a good idea.
Oh, and the ladies eat it.
I love that.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and I do have some lemon balm as well. I've managed to keep it alive, those 2 things, over the winter. And where we're weak is fruit. So I have strawberry plants, blueberries, but that's my only fruit. And I know that, if something happens that we can't leave our house for 6 months, I'm going to want to bite of fruit somewhere. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Boy, that's a good thing to think of, because I'm not growing any fruit.
Yeah, we're going to want to buy the fruit.
You want to go down the rabbit trail of, is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable kind of thing?
Well, a sweet.
Well, we have about less than 2 minutes left, and I was wondering if anybody in the chat had any questions for Anne Dale while she's here.
That's so sweet, because I usually have, when I am, the fruit trees are in the big box stores now. Yeah, they are. They're a little more expensive. But when I'm in other people's chats and things, and they go, do you have any questions for so-and-so? My mind just goes completely blank. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
I started 5 half-dead plants from the supermarket. Now it's half a pallet-sized bed. Good. Oh, the blue pixie. You have
Have
a
a good
green
day,
thumb.
G Mama.
Good day, G Mama. You probably
Have a
had
great.
plenty
Oh,
of
sorry.
Anne. That's okay. No, I was just saying G Mama's had a lot of Anne Dale today.
Have a great day, Spring Meadow Farm and Garden. Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla are going to have a design out for everyone. It's a Time to Shine logo. Good. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Tractor Supply. Wait a minute.
Tractor Supply. Oh, small ones are $12 to $15. We don't have a Tractor Supply here. The closest one is about 45 minutes away. Nice to meet you too, Blue Feather Homestead. Thank you so much for being here.
So I don't see any questions in the chat, but Tammy, do you have anything last minute that you want to ask Anne or?
No last minute questions for Anne. Anne, it's been such a pleasure to have you on and to be able to chat with you.
What a joy.
Enjoy your channel, and everybody in the chat, if you haven't checked out Anne Dale's channel, I hope you all hop over there and do that. She is awesome and knows a lot about gardening and shares a lot of information with us. I just love that. And Anne, I am so excited to hear you getting into herbs. You know, that's one of my passions as well.
Yes, you and I both. Thank you.
It is very, very fun. And we all start at the beginning, and even people that don't know a lot about, even people that know a lot about herbs, we only know what we know. And that's what I tell people is we only know what we know. I would say always be suspicious of the people that feel like they know it all, because those none of us know it all, especially when it comes to herbs. We only know we know what we read, right? But then there's the firsthand personal experiences with those herbs. And that's what I love to hear about the most is how do you use it? How have you experienced it? And people that you know that maybe that you talk with that have used it. That makes for the funnest. I feel like that's the kind of feedback you really want to hear.
That's right.
And reference those desk references, like a physician desk reference is good. Your contraindications for herbs. That's a great book to have. You can find them on eBay for pretty cheap.
Okay.
Look into those.
I've got my family is giving me all their herb books right now, so that's fun.
My family knows if there's something going on, they'll ask me what should we do? What can I take? What's in my kitchen cabinet? And that's something so good to know, how people can use their thyme or oregano or coconut oil or, whatever we got in there. That's fun stuff. I love it that you're growing that. I'm trying to grow more herbs too. That's going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I think we're at the end. So Anne, I just wanted to thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you. Guys in the chat, I'm sorry about the echo. We haven't been able to figure it out. Sometimes it is just StreamYard. So thanks for bearing with us.
Thank you, everybody.
But Anne, it's been an honor having you here. And guys, I pinned Anne's link at the top of the chat. So please go check her out. She has a wonderful channel. She has blossomed into this amazing gardener, and it's just so good I feel honored to have watched it happen. So check it out, everybody, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we will be back on Mtn Grandma's channel next week, which is Tuesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I will post that on my community page to keep everybody up to date.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all very much. And thank you, everyone in the chat, for coming. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you all. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.